Robert Churchwell Jr., and I'm honored to be reading for you When Marian Sang by Pam Munoz Ryan, pictures by Brian Selznick. It's a beautiful book, beautiful stage, a beautiful lady too. It was a range of notes that caused all the commotion. When, with one breath, she sounded like rain, sprinkling high notes in the morning sun. And with the next, she was thunder, resounding deep in a dark sky. Season of 2002, Scholastic Press, New York presents When Marian Sang. The true recital of Marian Anderson, the voice of a century. Libretto by, again, Pam Munoz Ryan, staging by Brian Selznick. And we begin. No one was surprised that Marian loved to sing. After all, she listened to Father sing in the morning as he dressed. Mother often hummed while she worked in the kitchen. Sometimes, Marian and her little sisters, Ethel May and Elise, sang songs all afternoon. Let us break bread together on our knees. Let us break bread together on our knees. When I fall on my knees with my face to the rising sun, O Lord, have mercy on me. However, her voice was distinct, strong and velvety, and able to climb more than 24 notes. Everyone wanted to hear Marian sing. Alexander Robinson, the choir director at Union Baptist Church in South Philadelphia, wanted to hear Marian sing, even though she was not quite 8 years old, and sometimes sang too loud. She sang too loud. He asked her to perform a duet with her friend Viola Johnson. As Viola sang the high part and Marian sang the low, their harmony blended like a silk braid. Dear to the heart of the shepherd, dear are the sheep of his fold. Dear is the love that he gives me, dearer than silver or gold. Church folks started whispering and followed without and out talking about Marian's remarkable gift. Neighboring churches heard the news and invited Marian to perform. One advertisement said, "Come and hear the baby contralto, 10 years old." And people came. You see the picture of Marian and her friends singing in the church. When Marian sang, it was often with her eyes closed, as if finding the music within. Audiences heard not only words, but feelings too. Spirited worship, tender affection, and nothing short of joy. She was chosen for the celebrated People's Chorus, 100 voices from all the black church choirs in Philadelphia. She was one of the youngest members and had to stand on a chair so those in the back could see the pride of South Philadelphia. Her father was proud too, but protective. He didn't want anyone taking advantage of his child. Father's love made Marian feel important. When he died after an injury at the Reading Terminal where he sold ice, tragedy filled Marian's heart and sometimes her songs. Were you there when they laid him in the tomb? Were you there when they laid him in the tomb? Oh, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they laid him in the tomb? Mother was happy for Marian's success, but reminded her that no matter what she studied, to take a little extra time and do it well. Marian didn't need extra encouragement, even when it came to singing. She practiced her part of each song and often learned all the other parts too. For her, her music was serious business, and more than anything, she hoped to someday go to music school. Church members promised tuition for Marian if she was accepted. Since father's death, Marian worked at odd jobs and sang in concert programs and other in order to help support her family. It wasn't until 1915, when Marian was 18, that she finally went to a music school and patiently waited in line for an application. But the girl behind the counter helped everyone except Marian. Was she invisible? Finally, the girl said, "We don't take colored." Her voice sounded like a steel door clanging shut. Marian knew about prejudice. She had seen the trolley drive past her family as they stood at the corner. She knew that her people were always the last to be helped in a store. But she could not understand how anyone who was surrounded by the spirit and beauty of music could be so narrow-minded. She felt sick in her stomach and in her heart. Didn't they know that her skin was different, but her feelings were the same? Couldn't she be a professional singer if she was a Negro? With unwavering faith, Mother told her that there would be another way to accomplish what would have been done at the school. Marian believed her mother. She took voice lessons in her own neighborhood, continued with the choirs, and sometimes performed at Negro churches and colleges. This is beautiful. When Marian saw a Metropolitan Opera performance of the tragic opera Madame Butterfly, thoughts of a formal music education again came to mind. How wonderful it would be to sing on a grand stage, act out a dramatic role, and wear beautiful costumes as we see in this picture. The passion music inspired her, and she was determined to study, but opera was simply the sun and the moon, a dream that seemed too far away to reach. He's got the wind and the rain in his hands. He's got the sun and the moon right in his hands. He's got the wind and the rain in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. I gotta say amen to that. As a young woman in her 20s, Marian was invited to many states to sing. Sometimes she traveled with her accompaniment by train, where they were seated in dirty and crowded Jim Crow car reserved for Negroes. When she arrived at her destination, she often sang the same program twice to separate audiences, one white, one black, or to segregated groups, whites in the best seats and blacks in the balcony. Many times she was welcomed enthusiastically by her audience and then could not get a hotel room because she was a Negro. That was bad. No matter what humiliation she endured, Marian sang her heart with dignity. Her voice left audiences weeping or in hushed awe as they strained to hold on to the memory of every opulent note. When Israel was in Egypt's land, let my people go. Oppressed so hard they could not stand, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. See, many of you all may have heard that song too. Marian still wanted to advance her singing with master teachers. With the help of friends, she was granted an audition with the fierce yet famous Giuseppe Borghetti. When she arrived at his studio, Mr. Borghetti announced that he didn't have time or room for new students. Too afraid even to look at him, Marian took a deep breath. Slowly, with great emotion, she sang, "Deep River, my home is over Jordan. Deep River, Lord, I want to cross over into campground. Do you want to go to that gospel feast, that promised land where all is peace? Oh, Deep River, Lord, I want to cross over into campground." Marian finally lifted her eyes. "I will make room for you right away," Mr. Borghetti said firmly, "and I will need only 2 years with you. After that, you'll be able to go anywhere and sing for anybody." Again, Marian's devoted church community raised the money for her lessons. Marian worked hard with Mr. Borghetti, and sometimes for practice, she sang scenes from Italian operas with him. Her recitals now included German songs, but other languages troubled her. She didn't want simply to sing beautiful words like Dunkel, wie Dunkel in Voile, und Feld. She wanted to know that the words meant dark, how dark in the woods and the fields. Other Negro singers had gone overseas to develop their voices and learn foreign languages. Why not her? After all, Europe was different. There she would be able to sing to mixed audiences and travel without the restrictions put on our people in America. So even during that time, it was much discrimination. Marian needed to grow, and Mother agreed, a bundle of trepidation and excitement. Marian boarded the Ile-de-France in October 1927. She had never been so far from her family. She knew her sisters would take good care of Mother, but still she already felt twinges of homesickness. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child a long ways from home. A long ways from home. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. A long ways from home. A long ways from home. Marian studied and was extremely invited, and it was eventually invited to perform in concert halls in Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Denmark. The enthusiasm for her singing was so overwhelming that one newspaper in Sweden called it Marian fever. Audiences applauded in London, cheered in Paris, and pounded on the stage for encores in Russia. In Austria, the world-famous conductor Arturo Toscanini announced that what he had heard was privileged to hear only once in 100 years. That was quite a compliment. Marian felt as if she had finally achieved some success. She even asked Mother if there was anything she wanted that would make her happy, because now Marian could afford to buy it for her. Mother said that all she wanted was for God to hold Marian in the highest of his hands. It seemed like she was already there. Mr. Bogeta had been right. She could go anywhere and sing for anyone. As she came home to the United States, in 1939, Howard University in Washington, D.C. booked a concert with Marian Anderson and began looking for an auditorium big enough to hold the audience she attracted. They decided that the 4,000-seat Constitution Hall would be perfect, but the manager of the hall said it wasn't available and no other dates were offered because of their white performances only policy. Marian's agency, Saul Hirock, wrote to the hall manager pointing out that Marian Anderson was one of the greatest living singers of our time, but it did no good. Enraged fans wrote letters to the newspapers in protest. Eleanor Roosevelt, the First Lady of the United States, resigned from the organization that sponsored Constitution Hall. Howard University then tried to reserve a large high school auditorium from an all-white school. Again, they were denied. Now teachers were angry and marched in support of Marian in front of the Board of Education. Washington, D.C. was a boiling pot about to spill over. Wasn't there someplace in our own country's capital where Marian Anderson's voice could be heard? So Black Lives Matter was even back during that time. Kind of started. Committees formed and held meetings. Finally, with President Roosevelt's approval, the Department of the Interior of the United States government invited Marian to sing on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial on Easter Sunday. Her country was offering her a momentous invitation, but she had concerns. Would people protest? Was it dangerous? Would anyone come? Examining her heart, Marian realized that although she was a great singer first and foremost, she also had become a symbol to her people, and she wanted to make it easy for those who would follow her. She said yes. Standing in the shadow of the statue of Lincoln, waiting to be called out, she read the engraved words, "This nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom." Marian looked out on a river of 75,000 people. Her heart beat wildly. Would she be able to utter one note? She took a deep breath and felt the power of our audience's goodwill surge towards her. Marian's sisters were there, and mother too. Marian stood straight and tall. Then she closed her eyes and sang, "My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, let freedom reign." A roaring cheer followed every song. At the end of the program, the people pleaded for more. When she began her thought-provoking encore, "Oh, nobody knows the trouble I see. Nobody knows my sorrow." Silence settled on the multitudes. These are the picture of the people as she sang in Washington at Lincoln Monument. Many thousands and thousands of people were at her concert. For almost 16 years after the Lincoln Memorial performance, Marian sang for kings and queens, presidents and prime ministers, famous composers and conductors. She received medal awards and honorary degrees for her magnificent voice, but there was still one place Marian had not sung. When she was finally invited, a dream came true. Marian wondered how people would react. No Negro singer had ever done such a thing. She would be the first, but she didn't need to worry. After she signed the contract, someone said, "Welcome home." An opening night excitement charged the air. As Marian waited in the wings, the orchestra began. Her stomach fluttered. She walked into the grand stage. Trembling, she straightened her costume and waited for the pounding music she knew to be her cue. Tonight was her debut with the Metropolitan Opera. At last, she had reached the sun and the moon. The curtains parted, and Marian sang. The end.
Hello, I'm Lonnell Matthews Jr., and I'm the Davidson County Juvenile Court Clerk and co-chair for My Brother's Keeper Nashville. Today, I'm going to be reading I Promise by LeBron James. I picked this book because it reminded me of all the promises I made to my parents and teachers and other mentors that helped make me a successful adult. So let's jump into it. I Promise by LeBron James, illustrated by Nina Mata. I promise to work hard and do what's right, to be a leader in this game of life. I promise to go to school and read as much as I can, to follow the rules and respect the game plan. If you want to win, you always have to follow the rules, right? I promise to run full court and show up each time, to get right back up and let my magic shine. We all fall down sometimes, but we have to get right back up and keep on trying. I promise to be open and try new things and enjoy the happy that change can bring. Change sometimes can be scary, but most of the time it's going to bring you something that's going to bring you great joy. I promise to wear a big smile and use kindness when I speak, to remain strong yet humble with every win and defeat. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose, but throughout it all, we have to remain humble. I promise to ask for help whenever I need it, to reach for my star even when I can't see it. Sometimes we don't see the benefit of doing certain things, but once we do them, we see it right away. So always do what's right. I promise to ask questions and find answers, to believe in next time and second chances. Sometimes we don't get it right the first time, so we need a second chance to make sure that we get it right, and that's okay. I promise to use my voice and stand up for what's right, and when things get tough, to keep up the fight. You always have to stand up for what you believe in. I promise to stand tall, rise up, and give all that I've got, to throw the alley-oop and uplift others on the spot. Sometimes we have to uplift others and make sure that they have a chance to shine too. It makes us better. I promise to respect my elders and peers the same, to leave new places better than I came. You always want to leave every place you visit or go to better than when you arrived. I promise to stay true, keep my head up, and never give up, no matter what. I promise to dream big and love bigger, to be a team player and a winner. To be a team player means that you cooperate, you work well with those around you, and everyone wins. I promise to cross bridges and break down walls, to rise with the sun and learn from the falls. Most of the time you are going to rise and you're going to win, but sometimes you're going to fall and you might lose, and that's okay too. Those are just learning opportunities. I promise to be courageous, to be free, to strive for greatness. We're all striving for greatness. Make sure that you are too. I promise to be me. And that's the biggest promise you can make. Don't try to be anyone else. Always be yourself and be your best self. Now repeat after me. I promise to go to school. Good job. I promise to do all of my homework. Great. I promise to listen to my teachers because they will help me learn. I always did that. I promise to ask questions and find answers. That's how everyone learns, even me. I promise to never give up, no matter what. You should never give up, never quit. I promise to always try my best. I promise to be helpful and respectful to others. You always have to be helpful and respectful, especially with your parents and your teachers. I promise to live a healthy life by eating right and being active. That's a great promise. LeBron James takes care of his body because he's an athlete, but we all should be taking care of our body and becoming healthier. I promise to make good choices for myself. I'm glad you made that promise. I promise to have fun. All right, we all like fun. And I promise, above all else, to finish school and strive for greatness. That's what I like to hear. Thank you for reading this book with me. Again, this is I Promise by LeBron James.
Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Ricki Gibbs, and I have the honor and privilege of serving as principal at Warner Arts Magnet Elementary located in Nashville, Tennessee. Today I'll read to you the story, Brown Boy Joy. This book holds a special place in my heart because it talks about all the things that you can be in life, and one of my favorite quotes is, "Don't tell me that the sky's the limit when there's footprints on the moon." So let's get into this story. Brown Boy Joy, written by Tamisha Booker. I I am brown boy joy, and I shine like gold, smiling ear to ear. Smash, boom, bam, pow. I am fearless and bold. Small but mighty as I walk with pride. I am wonderfully made, future bright, eyes wide. No dream too big, no, not for me. And that's huge. So one of the things that we pay attention to when we say that line, no dream too big, not for me, we look at the illustrations and you see the brown boy holding the airplane, letting it be known that one day I may be a pilot, one day I may be an aviator. You have a boy holding a doll, letting you know I can be a designer. Over here, a builder, an engineer. So no dream, not too big. I am brown and amazing. Can't you see? I am a brown boy joy, always reaching for the sky. I walk into the room with my head held high. You can tell by my stride, I am happy as can be. No one on earth can steal the joy inside of me. Wherever I go, no matter near or far, you will always find me shining like a star. With a heart so pure, I am loved by all. Walking into my glory, I am standing tall. Filled with love and light, I speak my mind. Take a look at me. I am smart and kind. Sitting on my throne like royalty. Brown boy joy. Yes, that's me. Brown boy joy. This book is filled with all the things little brown boys love. That's what made this book special to me. Brown boy joy.